There's never enough. Among the things you'll hear people say, it's always around never. I'm never good enough. There's never enough quiet to get my work done. Even now, when trying to shoot this video, I'm laboring under the delusion that I can't do it because my young 17-month-old child is playing and laughing in the other room. But that's just an excuse. And one of the greatest excuses we'll tell ourselves is that there is never, ever enough time. And that's okay. Not that you use the excuse, but that there's not enough time. Because that means you should have a lot of ideas and interests and things you want to bring into the world. And not doing so is just an excuse.
Right, because there's never truly going to be enough time to do everything that you want to do. And the important part is recognizing, yeah, there is enough time. And that's what should be the motivation instead of the excuse to help us focus down on what is then truly important for me. What is it that I truly want to bring out into the world? What of all my ideas, of all the things I want to put out there, what speaks most true to who I am and what I want to create?
Well, and even between us, I mean, that's always been the battle, is there's so many things we want to do that could fill up a lifetime. But where we get upset is when we try to put a lifetime's worth of dreams and goals that in the current state of things into one moment, as if not happening, not flipping on the switch means that we're failing. And how often does that stop us from actually doing the work that could get us there eventually?
Right, and then we so often want our dreams so badly that we think we have to have them now, not realizing that the time we have, that time should be spent at tinkering away and chipping away at that goal, at that dream. Because there isn't enough time to get it now, but there's enough time to get it eventually. But it's about that perseverance of showing up each day and working towards that goal.
Well, and you have to ask yourself, when is it going to be enough? I mean, are you going to keep making excuses? Never this, never that, or just excuses. There's an old idiom, never say never, because there is no such thing as, yes, there is a limited amount of resources of time and energy and so many other things that will get in the way if you don't manage them correctly. But that's just it. It's about managing them, not letting them manage you.
Right. And part of the beauty of it all is that these types of constraints actually help inspire creativity. Because if you only have a limited amount of time, that means you have to really think about how you're going to work. What am I going to prioritize today? If I only have an hour or two today to work on this, what's most important that I get done? And so those type of constraints actually help inspire us to think differently, to tackle problems differently, and actually create innovative solutions to the type of problems we face.
Well, and to be frank, it helps cut through the proverbial BS. Look, there's no other way of saying it. We tell ourselves these nevers. We make excuses. Anything to help fight that imposter syndrome, that this dream we have that we want so desperately is not enough. So yeah, we adhere to that. We tell ourselves, oh, there's not enough time. I'm too busy. I can't do this. Ask yourself, how many extra times when Netflix asked, are you still there? Did you click, I am, and continue streaming, watching this, doing that, playing this game? I'm not saying giving up on the other things you enjoy. Those will help balance this out. But if you're just opting in for an extra 3 hours a night on something like that, how much could 3 hours a night times 365 days in a year really add up to in getting you moving towards your dream, where that part-time thing that's in the back of your head becomes more of a full-time interest and then gets delivered?
Because if you truly have a dream, in order to make that dream come true, what does it require? Time. It's always going to require time. Think of time like a currency. You only have so much of it in a day, and it's up to you on how to spend it. But the problem is, if you're not spending it, other people will spend it for you. Whether it's with activities that other people want to invite you to, whether it is Netflix, as you brought up, encouraging you to watch more and watch more, is if you're not highly protective of how you use your time, it's going to be spent by others.
Well, and I think that bringing back up the Netflix piece is very interesting, because how can you shape that type of experience for yourself? If Netflix is asking, are you still there? How do you be present in the things you want to do? How do you decide to go from an hour that day to 2-3 hours and see how you steamroll? With different writers, comedians, and things, there are ways that they talk about how they get their work done, and how they do it day after day. Sometimes it might be I need to sit down and at least write 350 words on a page. But what you often find is that you write more than that. The hardest part is getting started. Getting past that, I don't have enough time. But when you find pockets of time, you can do what Neil Gaiman did, where he wrote Coraline while writing American Gods, writing 2 best-selling books at the same time because he wrote a page of Coraline minimum a day.
Yeah, and that's what I try to think about is when I'm showing up to take on this vast project, what I tell myself is to think small, start small. This massive idea, this project that you have that you want to bring to life, it's just that. It's overwhelmingly huge. And so what you have to do is break it down to the smallest pieces, because you can't get it done in 1 to 2 hours in a day, but you can get something done in 1 to 2 hours each day. And so it's about breaking down those objectives, breaking down that project into the smallest points possible, so that way you can measure, yes, I got something done. I made steps towards completing this project.
Well, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed. When you're trying to digest this whole massive thing at once, that's just it. I often think when you break those smaller pieces, it's like eating food. If it's too big, you're going to choke. And eventually, you're going to be so caught up in that fear of choking again that are you going to enjoy the rest of that meal? Are you going to even continue that meal? And we think that meal is a project or a dream, and it's just too big to actually, you just feel maybe you're not equal to the task. You're looking at pieces that are too large to ever take on at one time.
And that's what forks and knives are for, right? Is you cut down the pieces into bite size, and that's what it comes to. You have a limited amount of time, so you have to break that project down into smaller pieces, and then you need to commit and protect your time. You allocate your time, you protect your time, and you hold yourself accountable, so that way, whatever you say you're going to get done in that short amount of time, you get it done.
Well, and again, because I love the food analogy, is if those things are too much, even after you cut them into other pieces, what do you do when you have too much food? You share. You share that burden with, even if the people aren't actively participating in the making of the project. You find your partner, whether it be a business partner, a life partner, friends and family who you know will be stakeholders in your happiness. Maybe not in the project itself, but people who will help you bear that burden. Additionally, beyond helping you with that burden, they'll help you with being accountable. Because one of the hardest things with this time is taking off. Just like going to the gym, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Time is both a friend and an enemy in this regard, because we always feel like we never have enough, but we always put things off like we have it all.
And then that's what's so important, I think, of having a true collaborator. Again, like you said, whether they're truly involved in the project or not. For you and I, we have continually held each other accountable. There's been so many things that have happened in life that and always will for everyone that try to pull you away from these projects. And having someone, a true accountability partner, is invaluable to making those steps, to showing up each day and moving forward.
No, because deep down, we don't like the shame of when we don't deliver, but we want to measure up. Being accountable can be an ally in that, not just in making sure you do the work, but the feeling of having someone to share those daily successes. When you meet those objectives, those smaller pieces, each one of them is a win for you. And those wins become contagious and they start to snowball, and it gets all those things that were once so hard become easier and easier. And even then, when you have someone who's there to celebrate with you, it makes you want to do it the more. I mean, because by nature, most of us are people pleasers. We want to have someone who sees. And when you're doing something behind the scenes, especially like creative projects where you might be working on something months, years even before anyone sees it, that's kind of a desolate, that's a bit of a desolate, lonely island out in the middle of nowhere unless you find people to share it with.
Right, and as you said, it really is about building that momentum, that snowball effect. When you're looking at a blank piece of canvas, there are unlimited options of what you can create, what you can write, what you can draw. Overcoming that initial hurdle is paramount to moving forward. But once you can create that habit of showing up, of doing the work, of getting started and pressing on, it becomes easier and easier as it goes, because you start creating a habit.
So you have to be a master of time and not allow it to be your master. Essentially, time can be an asset instead of an enemy. So as creatives, we want everything to be perfect. Well, time is our friend because we know we have no time to get it anywhere near where we would probably still not feel good about it. We could spend a lifetime on one project that is so small in scope compared to the whole thing and never move forward. There's never enough. And that can be the thing that actually helps you succeed. You can find the benefits in having less time, making the right choices, doing the things that actually matter instead of living in this wealth of a lot of it mediocrity. Not all ideas are good, and not every idea or dream needs to come to life. So which ones actually matter and tie in with your values, your care? And When you do find that, what do you do to help you not be overwhelmed by it? If you can master these things, then you're more likely to feel that time isn't such an enemy and it's something you can shape into helping you actually achieve these dreams.
So as a little mantra you can tell yourself, be patient, keep building.